penned the piece to be amongst us. Okay, so welcome everyone. I can see a crowd and lovely people. Thank you for joining. So, without any further ado, we will start with the first phase of the session, where for some time now we are reading the entries from this amazing event that Sahityaka conducted called From the Pages of Childhood. And tonight we will be reading the entry made by Gaurav Kumar Ghosh. Okay. And the title of his piece is Child at Heart. For those who don't know, Gaurav is a part of the editorial and document team at Sahityaka, an amazing storyteller and an equally amazing writer. Okay, and he has a great grasp on English, Hindi, as well as Bengali. And I, from seeing his profile pictures, I feel he has a knack for caricature as well. Nevertheless, I think my screen is not visible, is it? Let me share it again. Oh, okay, it is. It is visible. Okay, so we will quickly go through Gaurav's poem. We'll first read it once and then sort of dissect a little bit, okay, line by line, okay. And so, yeah, Gaurav is here. I hope we don't disappoint him. And Child at Heart by Gaurav Kumar Ghosh. The days when the tension was just deciding what to watch. Just a second, my parents are being weird. Let me ask them to close the door. Thank you very much. Okay, so Child at Heart by Gaurav Kumar Ghosh. The days when the tension was just deciding what to watch. The TV was a topic of battle, and to show each other our wrath. When we used to toss a coin to decide the fate of games, when life was all so simple, when we had funny nicknames. I know not when did time fly away so far, left me stranded on the shore, making me bizarre. The times when getting soiled, it was worthy of a cheer. Now only we sweat away, facing our boss's sneer. The days have changed. The nights lengthened, the cricket bat is now no longer wielded. The yo yo is not spinning back. The top has not rotated since the days of childhood seem long gone. The dusk seems to replace the dawn. But the child in me, he's still he's still gazing up at the sky, looking at the helicopter, the machine flying so high. The child in me still wants to loiter in the hall and smash window panes with his tennis ball. The child in me, still fascinated by the cars with fancy toys and color pencils, dreaming to settle on Mars. I know that child in me knows my situation, but adamantly refuses to leave, showing great affection. He tells me now and then to remember what he once dreamt, to do what an adult should, but never forget your childhood. The golden memories are so precious, may never return again. But to enjoy life is not time's blame. So let the child in you never leave the hall of heart, for he still needs to wait to play a game of cricket. First of all, amazingly written. I think it is one of the only, if I correctly remember, or maybe the only uh, poems that we have received in this event that is materialistic in a very good way. And Gaurav, you have all the right to correct any of us, including me, if we say something that you were not thinking of when you were writing. So I feel that this sort of materialism is justified, because this, when he's talking about color pencils and fancy toys, he's not talking about, owning things which, I mean, you are understanding, right? Those things are actually, those things made what his childhood was, right? To settle on Mars, that has been a dream. Smashing window panes with tennis ball. Each looking at the helicopters and everything that he talks about, the cricket bat and every materialistic thing that we come across in this particular piece is actually related to a dream of the child that Gaurav was long back. Right? So we cannot say that he's craving for the materialistic things, right? There's some sort of a memory attached to it. There's some sort of an experience attached to the yo-yo, the top, right? The cricket bat. So I think that is very unique. It might seem trivial, but it is not trivial to me at all. It is very unique the way you have mentioned all these things, because in every other entry that we have received, we people are, and rightly so, talking about, simply the experience. Ki कहानियां क्या सुनी थी बचपन में, the stories, the folklores, the games they used to play, but nobody, I think rarely anyone in the poetic format talked about a cricket bat, or looking at helicopters. And that is such a subtle yet beautiful observations. I don't think anyone over here has never looked up at a helicopter, or those jet planes which used to leave a streak of smoke. Remember how fascinating those things were. So the best part of Gaurav's poem, in the first impression that I have about his poem, is the fact that he encapsulates materialism in a very emotional way. That, just because something is attached to a material doesn't mean it has to be bad, right? The first phone that you received, the first set of sketch pens that you might have received, your Pokemon cards and all those things, they are more than materials, right? They are like flesh. It would hurt if they get stolen or anything. So yeah, thank you, Gaurav, for this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poem. And let's just read again, and let's try to dissect it line by line, and then we can have a nice, juicy discussion about it. Child at Heart by Gourav Kumar Ghosh. The days when the tension was just deciding what to watch, and I think we all have gone through that, right? Our parents probably wanted to watch something else. We wanted to watch something else. I remember wanting to watch Pokemon at 5 p.m., but when my grandmother used to visit, they wanted to watch, she wanted to watch some Bengali serial, given that I'm Bengali. The TV was a topic of battle, and indeed it was. I mean, imagine dinner time. I think many of us had dinner times where, watching TV could have started an argument. Somebody wanted to watch news, somebody would have wanted to watch a serial. Then eventually down the line, I guess Big Boss sort of satisfied everyone's cravings, right? Before that, before Big Boss, it was KBC. And to show each other our wrath. Tarak Mehta ka Ulta Chashma. Right. Tarak Mehta ka Ulta Chashma came down the line, but indeed relevant. And to show each other our wrath. The thing we were talking about. कि कौन सा channel देखना है उस पे लड़ाई हो जाती थी. When we used to toss a coin to decide the fate of games. And let's be honest, it was rare that we got to use coins for toss while playing cricket. We used to use, any sort of some wrapper from a toffee or something. We used to just throw it above, and we used to say rang ya chit. Okay, colors, the colored side or the pale side. So pan masala wrapper, exactly, exactly. Most of the time it was pan masala wrapper. So kudos to all the good kakos to decide the fate of games. Exactly. When life was all so simple, when we had funny nicknames, right? And that's the part of friendship. I mean, the closest a friend is to you, the closer a friend is to you, the more bizarre nicknames or names you have for them. Is anyone here, and I would like to see a raise of hand if that is the case, is anyone here who calls their best friend, often calls their best friend by their real name? If you are, then you are an outlier. Nobody calls their best friend by their name. You would have the most filthy, most demeaning name, or else if you were a guy, you would probably call them by their father's name. Okay, that is what Adarsh calls his best friend by his best friend's name. Okay, okay, okay. Can we know what his name is, Adarsh?
Um, yeah, I mean, the point you said about calling them with filthy names,
Mm-hmm.
that we don't do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, his real name that is on his Aadhaar card, that is
Mm-hmm.
something nobody uses, not even his family, none of them. But
Mm-hmm.
there are, I mean, the nickname has taken over everywhere. So,
What is the nickname? Could you tell us, or would you let it be? Muntu. Okay, 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 okay. That's a cute name. That's indeed a cute.
yeah, yeah. So, I just wanted to point out that we are an exception.
Right. That's true. Abhishek Bhaiya, thank you for joining.
Hello, Satyaki.
Hello, bhai. Hello. So yeah. So to decide the fate of games, when life was all so simple, when we had funny nicknames. I know not when did time fly away so far. I guess that is something that requires no elaboration. We often ponder and we often wonder how could time pass so fast, right? Left me stranded on the shore, making me bizarre, right? I think that also makes total sense. That before we could understand, just a second, please. Yeah. So before we could, even comprehend or process, things changed and we were just standing there trying to process it, right? Trying to wrap our heads around it. That definitely made us look bizarre at times. I mean, I think, and again, Gaurav, who's going to speak after this, he would be able to refine it better. I feel when he says making me bizarre, it seems like many a times in your there are certain phases of growing up, right? I mean, when you are 5 or 6, nobody gives a damn, but when you are 15 or 16, there are certain expectations from you. Then when you are in your 20s, when you are 25, there are certain expectations from you. Then when you turn 28 or 30, that there are certain expectations from you, right? So I think it is those transitional parts when people expect certain things from you, that is when you tend to look bizarre, right? Because I'll just give you an example. Many a times my family members, they tend to call me childish. I don't know why. Okay, I have no clue why, but it's probably because of my hobbies or the things I'm interested in. Because they expect me to have different sort of taste, which thankfully I have not acquired, and I hope I don't ever. But I think for them, that sort of a taste in things could be bizarre, right? And I'm pretty sure this has happened to all of you at one point or the other, in one way or the other. So that is what I feel when he says, left me stranded on the shore, making me bizarre. The times when getting soiled, it was worthy of a cheer. Definitely, he's talking about, playing and getting dirty and all. It was worthy of a cheer. Now only we sweat away, facing our boss's sneer. That is a very, very evident line, what he's talking about. The days have changed, the nights lengthened, the cricket bat is now no longer wielded. Right? So days have definitely changed, nights have definitely lengthened. We tend to overthink. We tend to spend a lot of time thinking and working and probably crying ourselves to sleep if you are lucky enough. If you're not that lucky, you'll probably want to cry, but your ducts won't work. So yeah, so nights have definitely lengthened. The cricket bat is now no longer wielded, and this sort of, I think this reminds me of an example that everyone who has played cricket as a child would relate to. Remember when we used to play cricket, especially on streets, and some random uncle or bhaiya would come and they'd be like, just let me play a ball or two, right? And that would have been an irritating moment. But trust me, eventually down the line, you will realize why they used to say that. Because the cricket bat is not wielded anymore. The yo-yo is not spinning back. Of course, he's referring to the way he used to entertain himself by playing with a yo-yo. The top has not rotated since. He has stopped playing with his top. The days of childhood seem long gone. The dusk seems to replace the dawn. Of course, the springtime of our life is childhood, right? And clearly, the conditions, the situation a person is in these lines, the dusk seems to have replaced the dawn. The childhood has been replaced by something that comes down the line, and one has to become quote unquote an adult, right? But then Gaurav becomes a little bit hopeful. He says, the child in me, he's still gazing up at the sky, looking at the helicopter. See, looking at the helicopter might seem a very naive thing to do. But I think that sort of innocence and that sort of naivety saves the world, right? I think you all would agree. You would all would understand. You all would relate. If you have read Stephen King's It was the naivety, the child, the child, the sort of innocence that sort of gives rise to belief and hope and fearlessness. That is what defeats Pennywise in the first part of the book. Okay, later on he comes back because the kids who defeated him had turned adults, and when they turned adult, the power they had as kids, it was lost. So innocence and naivety could be perfect tools to defeat the sorrow that comes with adulthood. He's still gazing up at the sky, looking at the helicopter, the machine flying so high. The child in me still wants to loiter in the hall. I think we all do, all want to do that. And smash window panes with his tennis ball. We used to play with tennis balls, right? The child in me, still fascinated by cars with fancy toys and color pencils. I think these are self explanatory, so I'm not dissecting those. Dreaming to settle on Mars. I think all of us have, had a dream of becoming an astronaut at one point or the other. It's just that we didn't know how to become one. I know that that child in me knows my situation, but adamantly refuses to leave. And I hope the child doesn't leave ever. And that child shows great affection, as Gaurav mentioned. The child tells him that he had a dream. He had dreamt once to do what an adult should, but never forget your childhood. So it is important to be an adult, to take those responsibility, but at the same time, it is important to remember that every adult is just a child pretending to be mature. The golden memories are so precious, may never return again. But to not enjoy life, it's not time's play. See, what the part that is gone, it is gone. You will never become a child again. But you can still enjoy life like a child. So let the child in you never leave the hall of heart, for he still needs to wait to play a game of cricket. Beautiful. Beautifully written. And yes, Prandipanda, please go ahead.
Can I say? I won't say many things, but I will. Uh, okay, here it goes. First of all, listening to the whole thing and understanding Gaurav's perspective, I won't try to dissect it because that part is coming from the same experience of writing poems in my old days. Anyway, so I don't like dissecting poetry, but I mean, not saying it's a bad thing; it's a necessary thing. We need to do that in our understanding part. But I like to enjoy it. So the first thing that came to my mind when listening to his lines, songs. I mean, there are two songs I really love, and it goes with the vibe of his poem. I think, uh, if not, if that's not a problem, can you play the song here, or is that a time-consuming
Yes.
thing?
No,
So,
no, no, no. Please, please let me know. Which song are you talking about?
okay, the first song I was thinking about is that since she was talking about the child, the losing the child, or the child is going away, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the first song is Puff the Magic Dragon by Peter, Paul, and Mary.
I thought you would be talking about Comfortably Numb because of that particular line. The child is gone.
Yes, 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 I know, but right now the particular vibe, I mean, yeah, in general you can go for that line as well, but this song, you just play this song, you'll get the idea, get the gist of it.
Okay,
If
so
that's possible, I'm not
Peter Paul.
forcing anyone.
No, no, no. It would be amazing. It would be amazing, Pratibha. So it's what Puff the Magic Dragon by Peter, Paul, and Mary, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so I'm
Actually,
playing the version which has lyrics to it as
yes, of course, of course. It's a beautiful song. I think Gaurav will understand what I'm talking about.
well. Okay, just give me a moment. Let me present the tab.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. Oh, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Together they would travel on a boat with billowed sail. Jackie kept a lookout perched on Puff's gigantic tail. Noble kings and princes would bow whene'er they came. Pirate ships would lower their flags when Puff roared out his name. Oh, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. A dragon lives forever, but not so little boys. Painted wings and giant's rings make way for other toys. One gray night it happened, Jackie Paper came no more. And Puff, that mighty dragon, he ceased his fearless roar. His head was bent in sorrow, green scales fell like rain. Puff no longer went to play along the cherry lane without his lifelong friend. Puff could not be brave, dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu.
This has been the most perfect holiday.
Yeah, so I also heard it when I was, I think, I was very, I was in my adult age. I mean, I think 5 or 6 years ago. And the beautiful part about this song was that when I first listened to this, I immediately shared it with my friends, and one of my friends said that, "Why did you find this song?" Like she was saying that I lost this song many times ago. Like when she was little, she used to love this song, used to listen to this on her mobile, but then she lost the song. So when I shared it to her, like she immediately found a lost treasure, like the childhood treasure. So uh, yeah, it's the song is about lost and found, you can say, losing a child and finding it through the song. So I think Gaurav's poem's first part especially connects to that vibe. Now, why Satyaki is silent?
I really forgot that I'm on mute. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So how's the song?
It was really beautiful. You know, it reminded me of that very old animated version of Lord of the Rings, I think from the 70s.
Yeah,
And
the Raj Bakshi.
yeah, right, right. And
Raj
it
Bakshi made this.
and it had a song, I don't remember the lyrics, but it was about, when they start their journey, when the fellowship starts the journey, and it had a very beautiful song to it. It was a background song, and later on, South Park made a parody of it. If you guys watch South Park, there was this episode called Lemmy Winks, and it was also used there. So this song, Puff the Magic Dragon, it reminded me of that sort of, of this. Totally gives a fairy tale like vibe. And I sort of read this one comment down this song. And it is actually a quote saying, "Someday you will be old enough to start reading fairy tales again." And it was said by
Absolutely.
C.S. Lewis.
Yes.
Hmm.
C.S. Lewis, and yeah, I think that C.S. Lewis and
Tol-
J.R.R. Tolkien, they
yeah,
used to be best friends,
yeah,
and
they were friends. Yeah.
the Narnia and I mean Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings, like came from the same place. The creation came from the same place to write
Right.
something for the children that is not that doesn't necessarily need to be for the children
Ah,
only.
right, 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 right. अरे
It's about
आदर्श is
that
leaving.
sense.
I think Adarsh is leaving. Adarsh, you're going क्या अभी?
हाँ हाँ, आप
सोने
लोग
का प्लान है क्या?
कंटिन्यू करो। हाँ
सोने का सोने का प्लान है?
हाँ, ये तो
ओके,
आज 1 घंटे लेट हो गया था।
ओके, 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 ठीक है, सो जाओ। टेक गुड नाइट स्वीटी, इंडीड गुड नाइट आदर्श।
अरे
और
बाप रे, स्वर्ण भाई का मैसेज। चलो
कल
चलो, आप
सुबह।
लोग बढ़िया कंटिन्यू करो अपना, रिफ्रेश
ओके
करो
आदर्श,
माइंड को आधी रात को।
ओके आदर्श, टेक केयर, ओके, स्लीप टाइट।
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, so Prandipadna, please continue.
So yeah, you went to the same point I was getting towards, that
Hmm.
uh, there is no age for believing magic, and you can always start believing in it even if you have forgotten. And keeping the child alive in your heart is the, I mean, To believe in magic is to keep that child alive,
Mm-hmm.
to to see that everything around you, however simple and minuscule and sad and painful and useless or whatever, it can make sense in other way around when you start believing in magic. Like you can see the wonder even among all the pain, or I might say all the uh, reality of this existence we call. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just losing my words right now.
No, no, no.
So,
You are making a great point. Please.
so yeah, like that second part, about that second part, like, can
Mm.
you scroll it a bit?
Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Why not? Just is this
Yeah,
good? Hmm?
yeah. This line, that the child in me still fascinated by the cars with fancy toys and color pencils, dreaming to settle on Mars. That is the magic. That is what magic is about. Doesn't require any uh, anything real. To it depends, it does not depend on that. It all it needs is to imagine. It's to create that magic or believe in it, just that. So yeah, that's why I shared that particular song. It's about dragons. It's about sailing in the land of imagination, meeting the kings and queens, doing legendary adventures. So yeah, like that second part also reminded me of that song. And there is the second song. I think you don't have to play it now. You can play it afterwards, because it's a big song. It's
Okay.
called "Those Were the Days" by Mary Hopkin. It's one of the very famous song. I think you have heard the tune or the song in your childhood somewhere, but maybe didn't know the actual name. So that is also on the similar line, like talking about the old days and how I used to think life used to be so simple and beautiful. We used to have laugh, we used to have fun, we used to be together, we would not lose each other. So that happened, but those were the days. So that is another song I was thinking about. So yeah, nice writing again, Gaurav. I'm not very good at complimenting stuff, but I can share what I feel, yeah, along with that stuff. So that works as well, I think.
Nice. Nice. That was a very, very elaborate description, Prandivanda, and thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Great.
I think
Can I
Anushri.
say,
Yeah, yeah, please, Abhishek, bhai, please, please go ahead. Go
Gaurav, I must say that actually, of all these guys, I mean, what's your age, Gaurav? Can I ask? 20.
He's written 20.
Uh, and I am almost double your age, and I relate to what you are saying, actually. And the thing is, what you are saying that, yeah, a particular line by Satyaki caught my fancy. That whenever someone walks by a child or group of children playing cricket, and you want to hold the bat, and yes, give me एक बॉल खिला दो यार या इस तरह का सेंटेंस अगर कोई
Absolutely.
बोलता है एंड
Absolutely.
एंड this line, I think this line is killer line actually in Indian context. And yes, this what you are saying about tops, and this is also a killer line. Or the fact that uh, in my childhood I used to play means that tennis ball means what do you smash the ball to wall and then you try to place your bat in that line. So yes, I used to play that. I mean, it's just like I'm reliving my childhood memories through these lines. Very good, Gaurav. Actually, means These lines paint a vivid picture, and yeah, means I must compliment Gaurav. That, as a typical 90s kid, these lines have caught my fancy.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir. Thank you so much.
from that same 90s kid point of view, I relate to that as well. Like, I haven't played that much cricket. Yes, I did, but not that much. But yeah, those
And
artifacts of the past.
and Prandipan, you have come here for after how many months? I think means last time Salem slot started. Salem slot was, I think, your recommendation, I guess. And
Yeah, yeah,
I think
I
you
think
are
that.
here after 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, like yeah. Sorry, I couldn't
Last
come.
time. Okay.
Last few terms were not that good. So
And
yeah.
before that also, I think, and before that also, I think every 4 to 5 months Prandipan comes. I think. Anyhow,
प्रोद्दीपन दा का सबैटिकल बहुत लंबा चल रहा है, बहुत लंबा सबैटिकल है.
uh,
Yeah, and that one of those
I
tests.
think this is the fifth or sixth time I am seeing Prandipan.
And thankful you have remembered me. That's a lot.
Anyhow, Satyaki, I wanted to tell that actually, right today I'm not feeling that much bored. I'm feeling a
जी
bit exhausted. Actually,
जी जी
just
जी
about
जी.
I have reached to my location only an hour back. Okay, so
ओके
today
ओके
I'm
ओके.
feeling a bit exhausted.
टोटली
So can you take
अंडरस्टैंडेबल.
over?
आप रेस्ट लीजिए, डेफिनेटली भैया, आप ड्यूली नोटेड. आप रेस्ट लीजिए, आप एंजॉय करिए. ओके, नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल. Okay, so those were some beautiful statements made by Abhishek Bhaiya and Pratipanda. Now, moving on to the chat box, I can see that Anu has written that it is so beautifully written that it almost feels like it's coming from a part of ourselves rather than just reading it off a paper. Absolutely. Even if the materialistic things might not be universal to everyone, it succeeds in evoking the nostalgic feeling, which just goes to show that it's wonderfully structured. Also, loved the end stanza. Thank you very much, Anu. Anu has made a very crisp statement. Her command over the language is, as usual, amazing. And yes, the she has made a very important point that even if the materialistic things might not be universal to everyone, right? I mean, as Prandivanda said, he used to play, but probably he doesn't have the attachment to a cricket bat or a tennis ball, um, which could be at par with what Abhishek Bhaiya feels about that, right? So that is the thing. But as she mentioned, it successfully evokes that feeling that you must have had something, a top or a toy or anything that represents your childhood. It acts as a port key, if you know what a port key is, if you have read Harry Potter, or a totem if you have seen Inception. Okay, so Anu, that's a very good point. Abhishek Bhaiya, okay, Shrikar has shared the Spotify link, and I have also shared the YouTube link, Abhishek Bhaiya, so whichever you find convenient.
Can I tell one small thing like to end the.
Absolutely, 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 absolutely.
So before coming to this session, I was watching Twilight. I mean the second movie, I think. Yeah, second movie, and I haven't watched Twilight before. Like when Twilight was in its peak, I was watching Harry Potter. Like I think you are the 90s kid, all of the 90s kid. Like some of them watching Harry Potter, some of them watching Twilight, or some of them both. But I didn't get the time to watch Twilight. So now I'm watching it. I like the movies are I mean, thoroughly entertaining and enjoyable and everything. And I'm not getting into the quality or how it used to be criticized or I mean, all the controversies and everything. And it's not. It doesn't matter anymore. So the feeling I was getting, like I was immediately teleported back into that time, like that early 2010s, 2010, 11, the end of my school life, the starting of my college life, and that feeling. that teenage feeling, or um, that feeling in like falling for someone for the first time. I mean, why am I talking about this thing right now? Because maybe it's a coincidence that this you guys have been talking about the this event and all these writings and the excerpts. So it's like bringing back the child, that old part of myself I thought I have lost in one form or another. So I could feel how this is used to be. I mean, in my adolescence, uh, just by watching Twilight. I don't know. Maybe it's cheesy or stupid, but that's how the child inside us, right? Childs are cheesy, childs are stupid, childs are innocent. I mean, children. I'm sorry, I'm messing everything up right now, but I was thinking of something else. Anyway, so yeah, and that is the last thing I was going to say. Yeah.
No, Prandipada, I must say that that is not at all cheesy, not at all funny, not at all anything. Because I feel that okay, see, Twilight has definitely polarized the population, but I feel that it has always happened. If you don't like something, we are bound to ridicule that. If you like something, you would feel bad if someone ridicules that. But I feel that, and I'm someone who doesn't like Twilight. Okay, but of course, I mean, there's one particular thing that I love about Twilight. There's only actually there are two particular things. One is a song which was there in the first Twilight movie. Okay, and I think the song's name is Full Moon. Okay, if I'm not wrong. I okay. We would move on to Salem slot before that. After that, but okay, I'll share the link to that song, or maybe before wrapping up the session, I'll play that song, and we all can go and sleep after listening to it. It's a beautiful song. So Prundibanda, I am happy. I'm glad that you are watching Twilight. You must not miss out on it, because although I don't like it, but I stopped liking it. Like, I decided not to like it after watching the thing, right? So it is very important that you watch it and you read it.
And but yeah, like I have grown out of that age and phase and the time that the peak phase when this used to be a thing. So now if you watch it, I mean, if you decide to watch it, pushing aside all the biases and the past attached to it, you will also enjoy it, because it's just a movie now, just a piece from the time that you may or may not connect, but if you definitely will relate. That age, that stupidity, that childishness, that breaking your heart. Like, I know, I mean, I'm talking like an old man here, and I am an old man comparatively,
No, no, no.
but
You're totally right. You're totally right.
it feels nice to feel all those things again, like even if it's for a few moments. And to be honest, the movies are very simple and straightforward. There is no huge twist or things to think about. It's as simple as it is. So it brings back that all of these bring back that old time, that old sense, that the way we used to be in our adolescence or the early youth. So
Right,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
that's why it's kind of coincidental that we're talking about this writing, and we're talking. I was watching Twilight just before that.
Right, right, right.
Mm.
Makes sense. Makes
Oh, by
sense.
the way, Bella's Lullaby is also,
I
I
can
my,
relate to you, Prandipan. I can
yeah, yeah. I think being a 90s kid, you can. That is a time I think
I
we
can
all
relate to you.
miss out, because 90s was a different time.
Actually, as 90s was a different time, and I think Satyaki can also relate to that. The thing is,
Yeah, happily.
if
1996.
yeah,
Proud 90s. 96 wala hoga.
and now the thing is, you don't have to be apologetic to start Twilight. Any experience is an experience, and the thing is, what I am trying to state, that you go through that experience and then finally decide for yourself that what kind of experience was that. Don't go with others statement, and feel free to cultivate your own experience. You are looking
Right.
after, you are looking for some element of nostalgia, and at this juncture, I am a self confessed, what you can say, nostalgia junkie. I am also a nostalgia junkie. I also like to read Chacha Chaudhary, Nagaraj, or I also
Ah,
frequently refer to Batman comics, or I also refer to bad 90s movies where the dialogues
oh,
were cringy. So there is no shame. There should not be any shame in admitting to that. And yeah, be proud of yourself.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm also Batman fan, so there are a lot of things we're connecting on today. Okay, moving on. Salim's lot.
I can assure you guys that more frequent you are to the session, more frequent you would be in realizing how much you connect with the other people.
I'll try to.
Right. So no more sabbaticals from the Bunda.
Okay, okay. Actually, the problem is that this is my dinner time, so the every time I will join, like today also, I'll be having my dinner while this session is going on. So it's very hectic. Like I cannot join, but I have to eat. But I cannot eat because I have to join. So like, should I
No,
stay or should
makes
I
sense.
go?
Makes sense. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
like,
there's
but I
this
was
song.
enjoying. So
There's a song, no? Should I stay or should I go?
yeah, yeah, that is the exact reference I made. I'm sorry, I'm not sorry, mine. I'm just this expression. I'm a sucker for retro songs. I have a
Nice.
Spotify playlist for that sort of thing. Like it's I think 12 hours long, just for about the retro songs, and there are other songs outside that list as well. So I'm a sucker for these songs. I will always come back to that. I mean, the song you listened, Peter, Paul, and Mary, that is also a very old song. I think it's
Right.
from the 1950s or 60s. They are also
Oh,
the one who first recorded the song 500 Miles, not John Baez.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
before John Baez, they recorded it. Like the history's marquee. Like at that time, songs used to be recorded by multiple singers back to back. So, because all of them are trying to make their mark. So it was a ritual, like kind of a thing back then. So yeah.
Nice. That was a nice info. That was definitely a nice info.
Anyway, yeah, so Abhishek sir is saying, I'm anticipating total mayhem in Salem slot. Anyway, yeah, I should not keep you from anticipating it.
No, no,
So yeah, go ahead.
definitely, definitely. So I'll just quickly go through the chat box and then we'll be moving on to Salem slot. And guys, if you have not listened to 500 Miles, do listen to it. It's a beautiful song. Others said slow paced songs like these are calming. It was about Puff the Dragon. And then Adarsh has also said, and there in the night came a mighty great storm, and her arms were outstretched as her body was torn. That's a beautiful line. I hope you have heard this line. If not, consider it a homework and look up in on Google. Okay. Gaurav said, I thoroughly enjoyed it, though heard it for the first time. He's definitely talking about the song. And yes, Abhishek Bhaiya, I will be reading it. And Gaurav also mentioned that Tolkien wanted to frame epic parallel to Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. So fairy tale also research. Absolutely, absolutely. Tolkien is as vast, if not more, than as Tagore is. He created languages, he created grammar, he created modern mythology. So indeed, Tolkien is an ocean, and we are just collecting pebbles on the shore. Okay, HP friend. Okay, Anu made a great point. Hardly missing out. That's a good point. Gaurav talks about Brother 4. Yes, Abhishek Bhaiya is saying I'm anticipating total. Absolutely. And before moving on, yeah, so Thank you, Gaurav, for your beautiful submission. Okay, and I'm glad that you were present and we could not only read it in front of you, but discuss it in front of you. And I hope we get to read more and more things that you pen down. And thank you very much for this entry. And thank you very much for reminding us that growing up is a part of life, but it is also important to keep the child alive. Okay. So thank you
Yeah,
everyone.
so
Yeah,
thank you everyone. Like, first of all, I would really like to thank all of the people who patiently listened to whatever bullshit I've written, and like it is something very awkward to note. Like, means there's a meme on writers or poets that uh, someone wrote a line without meaning anything, and then when the language analysts and the readers sit down, they try breaking down and connecting it with things that even the writer had not thought while writing it. So sometimes I feel like like the more meaning you're trying to attach to my poem, I don't know if I really intended it to be, but I guess it's all the right for the reader to anticipate stuff. And yeah, my thought behind, I'll just take a minute in that. My
please sure.
thought
Take
for
your
this
time.
poem, it just randomly it just I mean, the story behind it was like I had to submit it and I was close means nearing the deadline, and just random stuff came out in my mind, and my main thought was like, what are the things which not only are common to my childhood but could also be related by most of the audience in the club. So picking out on those things, I tried bringing all the stuff together. And maybe because in childhood we don't see as it was mentioned in the comments also, that in childhood we don't take materialism in the very literal sense as we adults do now, because we see a teddy bear as our companion. We see a red plastic car sold by the toy sellers in front of the medical clinics to be Rolls Royce and Ferrari. So those things are very unique to us, and you cannot simply like uh, link them with materialistic approach of today's life. So yeah, my basic aim was, which I think I have successfully fulfilled, is to bring childhood stuff in front of everybody. And the main goal is, again, which I have also mentioned at the end, like not letting go your child. And surely if you are child at heart, it's always nice, and it's like a sort of a therapist sitting right inside you. And whenever you feel low, or maybe you're frustrated, you simply have to visit and trace back, like what were your paths, what were your roots, and from where did you come up. And when you see that journey, all your hopelessness, all your disgust towards your current life problems, they simply vanish. It's like, what a beautiful life I have. Like, on this very note, I'm remembering the song What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong. It's a very wonderful song. If you have not heard it, please do listen to it. So yeah, it's all about embracing stuff and uh, reimagining the happy moments which you had while you were a child. And why can we not see? According, I may be wrong, but according to me, as I am just entering into the early adulthood and stuff, what I witness is that somehow our responsibilities of adulthood is shaped by the society. It is not our personal exploration like we did explore it in childhood. Like, no one told us to dive into studying for IITs, or maybe become an engineer, maybe earn lakhs for Microsoft or stuff like that. Everything has been guided to us, and means like pre-programmed by the society to do this at this age, to do this at this age. But in childhood, Nobody give a damn about it. Like if you don't want to do your homework, you simply run to watch Ben 10. Or maybe you, if the electricity is off, and at that time, I don't know how many people will relate, but at that time inverters were not common. We used to light the candle and maybe play hide and seek, or maybe make hand gestures on the wall and play with the shadows. So yeah, those things were impulsive, they were self-explanatory, and that's why I think we loved it. What we lack, or what I'm observing currently in my friends, or also in my college life and stuff, is that we are somehow missing out on self exploration, and are blindly following maybe the social media influencers, or our societal so-called uncle aunties and stuff advice, and we run behind them without knowing. Because see, it's a question I have asked many of my friends, like, why are you doing this? They simply cannot answer it. They cannot find a suitable answer on the why. Just करना है तो करना है. क्यों करना है? They don't know why. So if you're not exploring stuff, how will you know it? So that's the part where the child comes in. It's not at all immature or to be childish and stuff कि भाई ये तो immature है, ये तो मतलब इसको छोड़ दो, he is not able to handle stuff. No, it's not that. It's also not like a sort of coping mechanism for adulthood. It's not also a coping mechanism. It is simply treating life as it should have been treated. And if you pick up the lives of great men, they always say, "Ki follow your passion, follow your dreams, explore." I- Like you have one lifetime. Are you going to spend it all on one stuff? No, of course not. At least I'm not ready to do it. You have to explore everything as much as you can, such that when you lie down on your hospital bed in your 80s, 90s, you do not reflect back and think, shit, ये भी कर लेना चाहिए था, उस time नहीं किया. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And thank you once again for like blowing of my simple poetry into stuff like it's a grand no thing. It's not that grand. I didn't even mean half the things you said. But yeah, all right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that is the fun about writing poetry. Like the poet would mean one thing and the readers would mean thousand other things. So that's a very normal thing,
Absolutely,
normal
absolutely.
phenomenon.
This reminds me of that one very stereotypical line, right? The curtains were blue because they
Gaurav,
were fucking
at
blue.
this Gaurav, at this juncture, you are saying that you are not writing great things. But trust me, buddy, I am saying at this juncture, means at around 40, you will realize कि at this juncture, when you will be reach 40, that you had written a great thing. Great things are simple. You need not carve out elaborate languages or elaborate arrangements to disseminate your feelings. This simple writing, it relates to the audience. It evocates a feeling of nostalgia. This was the primary purpose of your writing.
Yeah, right.
Also, writing simple things is the hardest thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree on that. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, on that note, I'll be ending this phase of the reading session where this was technically the penultimate entry in the series of From the Pages of Childhood. On Monday, we will be reading the last entry, which is a little bit different, but an entry nonetheless. Okay, so thank you everyone for patiently listening to this beautiful thing that Gaurav has written and everything that we talked about. I hope you had a great time and don't go, of course. We will be starting with Salem's Lot. Okay, so let me stop the recording.